I'm thinking something like... Hey, it's Amber and Melanie, and this is I'm Fine, It's Fine.
This week on the podcast, we have Matt Taylor. He was a kind, gentle soul and generous enough to share his story with us. And what I really enjoyed is we really got to see the whole idea behind the podcast is letting people share their stories around how humor is really how it came into their life as a child, and then how that has just kind of been there through thick and thin throughout their life story. So it was really kind for him to share that. So I hope you enjoy it as much as we did.
You didn't want to do finger guns?
Don't be awkward.
You were pretty good at them, though.
Stick
Both of them
up.
are. Oh.
Okay.
It's good to see you.
It's good to see you too.
Yeah. And for you and Melanie to
Nice
meet.
to meet you.
Yeah, it's nice to meet you too.
I love that you're here. You have been traveling a lot.
Yeah.
Like more than usual.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, normally I just stay right in Middle Tennessee.
In Smyrna.
Now I've been to like Eastern Tennessee, Western Tennessee. There's more to this state than you guys know. Just here.
Would you say that it's different?
This state's long as
You can say fuck.
Yeah.
Sorry, we didn't go over this prior. This state's long as fuck.
What's your
No,
favorite
yes, I have
place
been.
you've been to?
You what?
Favorite place?
Smyrna, Tennessee, dog. What's up? Is that mine? Is that one? I don't know. This one?
That one's yours.
Oh, I can see right there. Smyrna, dog. Purple and gold, baby.
Which is where you live, but not where you grew up, right?
Yeah, no. My favorite place I've been to so far would be home.
Oh.
I find that the more I travel, that the more I like where I live. So
Oh.
I like that.
That's really nice.
Mm-hmm.
And where did you grow? What is home?
home is Murfreesboro.
Oh,
I was
okay.
born in like Tuscaloosa, but grew up
Okay.
in Murfreesboro, Tennessee.
Nice.
Mhm.
So what I was like getting at with the traveling though is you had like you just had a really pop off, and would you say that's like led to more traveling?
Oh yeah, so once I got on his tour or whatever, like we're gone 3 weeks out of every month, and somewhere like I was just in California, Northern California for like a week and a half, I think. So that was fun.
What's it like traveling now? I'm just like I've been traveling and it's
Traveling
so
is exhausting. Yeah.
yeah,
People are like, I want to travel the world. Like, no, you don't. No, you don't.
and it can get
Go to
kind of
Idaho
lonely.
and back first and see like if you want to. And it was like, what?
Gets kind of lonely.
It does. I mean, you've got some people out there, but you don't really know them yet.
Mm.
So you're just kind of in a hotel room a lot of times. So hiking, that would be why I try and go out and find something to do in the city, even if it's just like running sidewalks, just getting outside and trying to stay mentally sane. 'Cause, I mean, if you just stay cooped up in a hotel,
Yeah.
you're going to hang yourself in that hotel. I understand.
That doesn't happen.
Let's get into that trauma.
Yeah. So you have like those kind of rituals, like going outside and stuff like that when you're not on the road.
Yeah, like even when I'm like today, I just went and ran on the Greenway and just got outside. I think something about staying cooped up inside just drives me insane.
Definitely.
But yeah, whenever I'm home, I really try and make a point to see family and friends as much as I can. Even if I'm tired, I still feel like that connection just kind of keeps me level. That makes sense.
It does.
So when you're traveling and don't have that same connection, how does that feel? How do you try to stay connected?
Like with myself or with others?
With others, you said being at home, you're more connected with family and that.
Oh, like I'll make my calls that I try to
Yeah.
every day and stay in contact with friends. Or I'll just annoy the shit out of our production manager that travels with me. He's just such a quiet, like reserved guy. So like I'm just in the car with him the whole time. He's like, "What about this? What about that?" He's like the most chill person ever. And I'm like,
something ain't right.
I'll get you. I'll get you.
You seem pretty chill yourself, and I know we were like talking about this before, but let's get into some sauce. So like,
Well, I'm chill, but I'm not at all. I don't know. I am chill, but at the same time, like I'm a very nervous, anxious person, like internally. Like I feel like I'm always out of breath, if that makes sense.
really,
Yeah.
Yeah.
you felt like that, like your whole life.
Yeah.
What made you? Did like getting into comedy? Did you think about that of like, oh, this might help me, or oh God, how am I going to do this?
I don't know. Like I always wanted to get into comedy. I just think I was so anxious or nervous or scared that it took me until the age of 30 to do it. So,
What do you think allowed you to finally do it?
being at a job where I didn't really see myself progressing and having gone to college for so many years just to do what I was doing and realizing I wasn't fulfilled. And it was something that I wanted to do when I was younger and just never did. And then 30 rolled around and I was like, either I'm going to do it now or I'm not. And I did it and I enjoyed it. And just been doing it since almost 5 years.
I love that. What's your anxiety level like right before you go on stage?
Oh,
Or is that different when you're versus when you're on stage?
Yeah, it is. I would say I'm definitely most anxious, like right leading up. Like I used to have like really bad heart palpitations, like before the show, like getting ready to go on stage, and I ended up getting like prescribed beta blockers to like keep me level-headed. And now that helped out a ton. But before then, yeah, I mean, I remember one time I was about to go out to host a show at Zany's, and like I stood up and felt like I was about to pass out.
Oh, yeah.
Like right before the show was about to start. And you know the music they play right before, you're just like like every time I hear that
Are
music,
you ready? I know.
Yeah, it's like I could be in the crowd and I hear that music, I'm just like
Right?
But,
It's a long song too. It lasts a long
trauma
time.
response.
Yeah.
but yeah, like I was just always so anxious and nervous. Like even in the green room, like I couldn't really talk to people because I'm just so in my head for some reason. And I would just be standing in that door waiting to go out, just like.
Oh.
And then I'm looking like, that's very fast. Okay.
Oh.
Yeah, and one time like I remember I stood up lightheaded and almost passed out, and I was like, I gotta do something.
Yeah.
And then like doing these theater gigs, you know, like it just everything seems more on the line, and more, I guess, like a bigger scale. So the anxiety of it just ramped up, and I was like, dog, if I faint on stage, first of all, I'm probably not gonna be back out for any more shows, and if that's on camera,
You're gonna get
going
famous.
viral,
Yeah.
dude.
Was it the beta blockers that helped that completely?
The beta blockers helped out my anxiety a lot. They actually helped out my high blood pressure too. So I
What
think
is
it
a
was
beta
just-
blocker? I don't even know what that is.
It's
They
typically
just don't allow no betas around, dude. I'm alpha. I'm so alpha. I take beta blockers, dog. I don't want them near me.
Huh.
Yeah, no, it blocks like your adrenal response to things, which is I don't know. I mean, I'm sure there's some. I don't
Is
know.
that on the
Like,
back of the box?
You're the kind of doctor, right?
I'm not a doctor. Beta blockers are normally
You seem smarter than me. What is it?
they typically prescribe it for heart like
Like heart arrhythmia.
yeah.
And it helps keeps your heart on like a regular pace, which I was having a lot of like tachycardia and heart palpitations. And
Did they do heart testing to where there was like nothing? Did they find like there was
Yeah,
nothing
they-
organically like wrong with the way your heart was beating?
they did EKGs and echocardiograms, and everything was fine. and they said I had performance-induced anxiety or something like that is what it's called.
Just a stress response.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna ask if
I was like, am I always performing then? Because I have it all the time.
Yeah, like was it that level before you started doing stand up? Did it get to those levels where you're like, I'm gonna pass out?
Sometimes, but it got more frequent because I guess that was the trigger, was any kind of, I don't know. Like it happened like when I was quitting my job to do this gig. Like I started having heart palpitations just thinking about the conversation with my boss who already knew and was happy for me. But still like, so if there's anything you need me to do, just, I don't know.
Where you were like imagining something that could go wrong, even though everything was good?
Yeah, like in my head, like I'm always imagining something going wrong.
It's pretty like anticipatory anxiety. Yeah.
I'm always expecting the worst to happen. Everybody in my family has died in my head a million times over. So it's almost like when the time comes and they do pass, I'll just be like, I already, expected that. So yeah, it's weird. Like almost like an obsessive anxiety.
Well, yeah, we tend to think if we can plan enough for it, that it won't hurt as bad. If we stress out enough about it, or just like if we can feel enough shame, we can forgive ourselves for something, or
Yeah.
It's the same with anxiety. If I can worry about it enough, or think enough steps ahead, plan for it, we can try to avoid it, or we can try to. It won't be as bad when it happens.
Yeah.
But that's always been how you've operated?
Pretty much, yeah. I've always been pretty high strung on the inside and just kind of calm, cool, and collected on the outside.
Is that like There's a lot on, yeah. People love Snickers.
Yeah. Great. You don't have to hate me. I'm a Snickers.
You don't have to hate me.
Have you ever had a time where what was on the inside, like you let that come out? Or is it always, I just imagine you're just trying to keep like a lid on a pot of boiling water.
Yeah, I don't think there's been probably some times where like I've not exploded, but just like reacted to a situation too much. Yeah. Where people are like, where the fuck did that come from?
You're like
I've been 35 years is where it came from. I'm just keeping it down. And yeah, I don't know.
Is there like I guess if you've played things out over and over, like how it might happen, do you do that with if I were to let this out? Like whether it's whatever it is, it could be anger, it could be stress or fear or whatever. It seems like you're holding it all in. So do you play, if I were to actually express this, then what would happen?
No, because I don't really know how I would properly express it. Yeah. Do I just tell people, hey, I'm about to freak the fuck out? Just letting you know.
Have you ever done that?
No.
Try it.
But then I just wouldn't freak out. Like, I'm just kidding. I'm not going to shoot this school up. Go back to class. Probably take that part out too. I don't know. It's kind of sensitive. So. Right?
Right?
Maybe.
I'm just kidding. I'm not even in school or near one. So.
Not allowed to be.
Yeah. Within 300 yards.
I don't know if this, like, if you relate to this, but it just makes me think of like anger in my family was always a problem because we have anger management problems. So it was like, keep that anger. Anger is a bad emotion.
Yeah.
So I still go through like how to express anger in a good way, or like thinking that anger is an okay thing. So I guess like I'm curious, like how other people that you grew up with, did you see them like express their emotions a lot? Or
yeah, and I mean I always saw anger as like a secondary emotion to something else, you know. Like typically when people get mad, or if I saw them get mad, it was typically from sadness or some outside antagonist, that it wasn't like even though it was like their initial reaction, it was their secondary emotion to something else.
Yeah.
I think I understood that at a very young level, just because in my family, like I had people that were pretty angry a lot. You know, my brother was kind of an angry person growing up. My dad, I think just the stress of having a family at a young age, kids back to back to back. They got upset easily. So watching and observing that, I was just like, I don't want to do that shit. So I think I just became more reserved, but the anxiety on the inside was still there.
Well, do you feel like that makes a lot of sense? And I think that's very observant for a young person to see that in people. Like, I work with clients that haven't figured that out yet.
Yeah.
For whatever reason. But to recognize there's something underneath it. It's just anger is the easiest, least vulnerable thing to express for a lot of people. So it's easy to access versus I'm sad or hurt or lonely or any of those things.
Yeah, because those are way more vulnerable, and anger is like you won't see what's. I'll freak the fuck out right now. You won't see.
Well, it seems like with your family, if everyone tend to have bigger feelings, there was room for you to have feelings.
Damn. Yeah. I don't know. The two big, I guess, emotions would be my dad and my brother. Whereas like my mom, who is a psychologist, was always very analytical about things and analyzing everything. And then me and my little brother were just way more reserved. I was the middle child, so I was just chilling.
Middle child.
But I definitely learned to use humor as like my cover up. Instead of anger, I would just make jokes or anything that would like deter from whatever was really going on inside.
Explain a little bit how that would work in your family. Like what kind of response would you get that if you're like, I'll be funny, then what happened that kept that going, that this works?
Oh yeah, like being funny was a great way for me to like calm down situations in our family with whatever was going on. I mean, I found myself doing that a lot in life.
Yeah.
Anytime, I'm not really good with addressing the problem at hand. I probably just make jokes about it, or if tensions are rising, I always found that making some kind of quip or some kind of smart ass comment would just deter it from escalating.
Yeah. So it became a survival skill.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we learned so many different things. So humor became yours. Yeah.
And I'm still here, so I did survive.
Beta blocker.
Yeah. Get the betas out of here, dude. My heart is sweating right now.
You're doing great.
Thanks. It's the sweater. It was too much.
So
I have a plain white tee with pit stains underneath. Staying on.
You learned to do that in your family. How does that work for you now? How do you use that? Or do you use it in the same
Comedy?
way?
It's working pretty good now. It worked out.
That's a career.
Yeah.
But how does that work for you? Like in relationships and just every day?
It's so unhealthy. Yeah, dude,
Can you tell us about that?
I can't take shit serious. I'm like, hey, can you just? I'm like, yeah, what do we This is a serious moment, like you hurt my feelings. I'm like, did I? I'm sorry.
Do you feel like? Do you think about that later after the conversation?
Yes.
Like, is there some, oh, fuck.
And then I'll be like, hey, look, I'm sorry that I did that. But initially, it's always a reaction to just be funny. And like, it's definitely to hide something. I don't know.
So.
Or deter something always.
Well, tell me if this resonates. But you learned the funny thing to be. It's a way to cope and skill, and to be like you kind of ended up in that role in your family, right? And so if you didn't grow up in a family talking about feelings and emotions and only showing anger, you didn't really get to learn how to be vulnerable and softer, talking about deeper things. So it would make a lot of sense that comfort level's hard to get comfortable with that. If you've always just learned the humor part has been how to respond to those things. What got you through that?
Right. Was that a question?
Well, I didn't know if it resonated that's just how you learned. I called it a survival skill. But that's
I can see that.
As an adult, I think sometimes I'll see people hold themselves accountable that they don't have this like large capacity to have deep conversations or feel deep and explore things when that's never what you did, like in your family, like it was just never shown to you. So how are you supposed to know? All we know is the things we learned to get, through.
Yeah. I feel like I'm getting, the older I get, the more I get better at that, of just like expressing myself. And early on, like I was always the person to talk to.
Yeah.
I was very good at like listening. It's why I went into, I wanted to be a psychologist just like my mom, but then I've gone into social work, which is relatively, the same, not the same, but you guys are just glorified social workers. That's all you are now. But I wanted to get my LCSW and all that, and I was always I enjoyed listening to other people and like trying my best to help other people.
Yeah.
But then when it came to like talking about me, I was just like, you fucking blah, like, oh, don't look at me.
Is there like a time that you can think of that you like leaned into that, like, I'm not going to go to funny here, I'm going to like really like say what's on my mind? And if so, like, what did that feel like leaning into that?
It did feel good.
Did not feel good.
Genuine and authentic, but it, as far as like being anxious or whatever, like it made it way worse. And I think in the end, it was hurtful maybe for the other person, in at least one instance that I can think of. But it's one of those things where like it's a situation where there's no way you can't be funny in that situation.
Mm-hmm.
You have to be genuine and honest, and that fucking sucked. So,
are you saying it increased like your anxiety, the response that you got after?
I think doing it and the response. I don't know if it increased the anxiety. It was just like, well, that wasn't fun. I didn't expect it to be, but.
Was there any, just curious, like, less of like a hangover from it, like when you were like, oh man, I wasn't like honest, but this time you were? Was it like, well, at least that's a good point. So at the end you're like, I handled that appropriately, or to the best that I know how with the tools that I've been given. So, and I didn't revert back to some infantile way of expressing what I'm trying to.
That's good. I mean, I think sometimes we take a lot of responsibility for how other person's going to feel when we share something authentic, to the point we don't share, right? Because it can feel bad when we say something that it's not fun for the other person to hear. But we can be glad that when you finally voice something, it can feel really good.
Yeah.
Do you feel like whatever experience you're talking about, do you feel like that let you, like, okay, I want to do that again? Even if it was hard and feel like that?
Not at all.
I knew you were going to say that.
Absolutely. I will never do that again.
I will be lying.
Did not reaffirm or affirm anything for me. I was like, I'm going to fucking beat all dick jokes next time.
And just hope they pick up on what I'm throwing down.
Yeah. So, I always found myself like growing up, like telling little lies. Like I was never a big dishonest person, But people would be like, "Yo, did you see that movie?" I'm like, yeah, totally. It's a great movie. Please don't say anything more about it. They're like, so they go into it. Yeah, 100%. That's how it ended. It was always like I think I would lie to like just to like fit in.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, what? I could have been like, no, I didn't see the movie. And it's not like I'm like, what? You'll never be our friend until you can discuss the synopsis of the movie that we are now talking about. Go fuck yourself. God, That's what's going on in my head. You know?
Oh,
Still
Sarah's
today?
Like, yep, I have seen the movie. And I will Google it while you're telling me about it.
sounds exhausting.
Yeah, it is.
Like to
Yeah.
have that.
I'm a very big yes person. Like I hate telling people no. I hate disappointing people. So I'm always like, let me do whatever I can to make this situation go as smoothly as possible.
And does that feel helpful?
No, not at all.
Sorry. It doesn't sound helpful, but it's what you're doing. But it sounds like
I know it doesn't. I know in the moment it's helpful, but in the longevity of things, it's probably not.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because I'm sure you feel that after where you're like, I don't want to fucking do this. And I said yes.
You're like, now I gotta go see Titanic 2. I haven't even fucking seen Titanic 1.
You haven't seen Titanic 1? Get
Wait,
out.
There's
There's 2?
Wait, what?
Yeah.
Wait, what are we
Jack
talking
comes back to life. It's a zombie movie. It's crazy.
Wait, what? I think we all just confused
We're all
each other.
confused.
Yeah, sorry. There is no Titanic 2. I'm sorry. I don't know why, because this is fucking, this shit's tanking. So I was just like, maybe there's a second one.
I can't remember what it was.
Jack dies if you haven't seen it.
Don't tell them. Globe, globe, globe.
Supposedly, I don't know. You got to watch the second one to find out. We don't know that he didn't. All right, sorry. Deflecting.
I was about to say, are you making jokes right now because you don't?
Like, I want to quit talking.
The thing is like, I want to stop talking so much inside that I just talk more. And I'm like, in my head, I'm like, shut up. Shut up.
Oh.
I'm still doing it right now. Shut up. So.
I'm curious. Do you feel, it sounds like you're like agreeing to whatever, some like just saying the yes thing.
Mm-hmm.
Do you feel like at the root of that, it's like you want to be accepted?
Yes.
And so do you feel like you're living from a place of that you're not?
Yeah, I mean, it's almost like I've tried to analyze myself a lot. So it's like, why did I even get into comedy? Because that's one of the most like narcissistic, selfish thing. It feels like it's like, hey, I'm on stage. Make sure there's a light on me and a microphone so that I can be more visible and more audible. And it's like, I feel like I had enough attention growing up and enough attention from my friends and my peers and people that, you know, I associate with. So where this longing for attention from people that don't even know me comes from, I don't know.
And you feel like that's what it is, being on stage? I was going to ask, like, what feels,
It's
what's
gotta
the
be
high of
something
being
like
on
that.
stage? Because after talking
Acceptance,
to you,
right?
it seems like you would be,
I
that
don't
would
know.
be.
You don't have to lump in with me, but it feels like total acceptance.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And just, of course, there has to be some kind of joy that I feel from bringing laughter and happiness to other people.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because I know everybody has pain, like we all do. So even for like a brief moment, I can just be like, here's this.
Yeah.
Forget about whatever.
Yeah.
Have fun. But also look at me.
That's what, like, yeah, I don't know. The narcissism thing, I don't know. I never think of it like that.
And the thing is, I don't know if I just feel like that's what it looks like from the outside a lot of times.
To who?
I don't know. Like like if I look at stand up from the outside, I'm just like, we're all narcissistic psychos. You know, that's what it looks like from the outside to me. So then I'm like, oh, that's what everybody else has to be thinking.
So projecting.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Amber's like, I do it just to bring joy to other people.
Oh no,
Make people's lives better. So.
I definitely think about myself a lot, but doesn't everyone?
It feels like I'm being I think just being in comedy and doing that feels like I'm being very narcissistic, self-absorbed, and just, I always try and go back and from a place of, am I doing this for others or am I doing this for myself? And it's obviously a bit of both. But sometimes it just feels very selfish.
Well, I
Very
think it makes sense that that's how you are framing that up because from what you've shared growing up, it was always others focused trying to make them laugh. You weren't used to having the space to take up and be a center of attention. And so it makes a lot of sense that it feels really good to have that like validation and space that you get to take up whenever you're on stage. But that it also feels for you're judging it as like I'm being narcissistic because I'm taking up space.
Yeah.
And because I like getting validation. But I don't think that's narcissistic. A narcissist wouldn't question like what you said. That like I check in to see if I'm doing this for other people or for myself.
Yeah.
A narcissist wouldn't ask that question. That would never cross their mind. I don't know if that makes you feel a little bit better around like how you experience it.
I mean, it's definitely something that brings me joy, and it's something I enjoy doing, and it feels like, because I mean, I went into social work because I enjoyed helping other people.
Yeah.
I've always, I don't know, because it's not altruistic at all. Like, there's still like a reward system to me of like helping people. It always felt good. So maybe that's why I did it. I don't know. But, you know, in comedy, it's just almost a more grand scale. You can reach more people at once.
Yeah.
That was nice. I don't know, but I don't know where the fuck I'm going with that. It is, you know.
Well, okay,
so it always feels weird. It feels very, I don't know.
I think some people could stand to be more self-absorbed. I mean, you know.
Well, I was going to ask, like, how much do you give, like, you talk about, like, what you want to offer to other people. How much do you, like, allow that, like, receive that?
I think a fair amount. I mean, one thing that I've always just kind of been, like, not my motto, but, like, the way I see things is, like, if people want to do something good for you, or if people want to, you know, do any kind of good act for you, instead of being like, no, it's like always accept it. That's a chance for them to feel decent about doing something. Which is in turn exactly like if I was trying to do something nice, I'm like, no, I'm like, well, fucking hell, I'm going to hell. Damn. No.
But you're saying you even receive for the other person.
Yeah.
Sorry.
100%. Like, you're welcome for paying for this meal. So I let you do that. And don't forget, that's narcissistic as fuck. I'm going to let you pay for this meal. So I forget to make you feel good. Don't forget that.
This is starting to feel like Titanic 2. I'm getting confused.
Also, don't forget to tip at least 20%. I'm watching. I will glance at the side. I'm not going to look directly at the check, but I'm going to see what you write before we leave. Because I was a server and I understand how it is. I like to serve people in every aspect of life, even hunger.
That was funny. Thank you for the laugh.
Yeah.
No, I'm just saying, when I asked, do you let yourself receive? And you're like,
I guess
yes.
not, no.
No, well, you said yes, because it makes the other person feel like if they're offering, it feels good for them to be able to give that to you.
Yeah, because for me, it feels like charity. I'm like, I guess I'm just a big piece of shit. Go ahead. Yeah.
If someone gives to you?
Yeah, you want to give me $200? Go ahead. That's fine.
No, you're a kid. Are you kidding?
If somebody gives something to me, yes, it always feels like I'm just... I'm very grateful, and I'll express gratitude to the person or whatever the situation is. And then I'm not talking about like money or food, like anything. Even if somebody gives me a piece of themselves, you know, like I'm very grateful for that. But I don't know. When it comes to anything monetary or anything like that, I always feel very like, I don't know. Because I have been like down where I didn't want to be at points in my life.
Yeah.
And having to accept things from people it felt more degrading, even though they weren't the way, but like personally, I was just like, you know, thank you. I wasn't going to eat today, but thank you.
Oh.
I was just, but out of pride, you know?
Yeah.
Like, also, I would have eaten. my own shit. Gotta make it funny.
You're very good at that, sir.
Oh yeah, I'll deflect the fuck out of everything. So.
Well, you share. I feel like you've been vulnerable and shared stuff. You do follow it up really quickly with a joke, but
Oh yeah, because it gets too serious. I'm like, just kidding.
I'll dip my toe in that vulnerability.
Yeah, I'll be in the shallow end, but you ain't dragging me deep.
You ain't dragging.
No, this ain't Jaws.
There is a Jaws too.
Yeah, I don't recall it at all. We're gonna need another movie. Is what they said after the boat.
Have you ever brought like a vulnerable or like something that happened to your life into comedy and tried to make a joke about it?
Yeah. I guess the situation that kind of fucked me up a lot was, so I grew up playing baseball my entire life. It's what I wanted to do. It's all I knew. I didn't really think about anything else, which in hindsight was stupid as shit, but I didn't really have any other aspirations at that point. Like baseball was it. And so my senior year, I got hurt really badly and just couldn't play anymore. Mm-hmm. So I think everything that happened that day I turned into a joke. I don't really tell because it's just so long. But everything that happened was kind of funny, or at first it was traumatic because I almost died. But everything that happened that day, I found bits and pieces of humor in it and turned it into a joke that I told on stage. I haven't really told that much, so it could go well now. But that moment, because after that, I just went to college, ended up partying, getting shit-faced all the time, working, dead-end jobs, dropping out of college because I partied too much, and not really having any purpose, undeclared, until I dropped out and then went back. And was like very unmotivated and just lost because I had spent, my whole life working towards this one goal, wasn't thinking about anything else. Then when it got taken from me, but whenever I lost that opportunity, I had no direction. So I just started numbing it with everything I could and not really facing the fact that there's other avenues and I'm good at other things. And I think that kind of crushed me because that's who I identified as, and that's not my true identity. But in that moment, I didn't really know much past that. So I was like, fuck it, I'm just going to get fucked up and figure out life later, I guess. And I did, so. But that traumatic moment was one that like changed me down a direction I didn't want to go for about a decade, I guess, where I got my shit together. Because like even when I went into college and graduated, like I was still trying to escape something. I don't know.
What did you when you went back, it seems like through that day and started doing jokes, like creating humor around it. How did that?
I'll tell you guys want to hear the joke? I'll tell the joke.
You can tell the joke.
So I ended up, it was a game we were just playing, not Smyrna, but they were around. They're always around.
Bulldogs.
Yeah. God dang bulldog. The person that I collided with a player on the team just running down first base who was actually a buddy that I played baseball with prior to that, but he went to a different high school. And long story short, injury-wise, I ended up breaking 3 ribs, puncturing 2 holes in my lungs, rupturing my spleen, something else.
From running into someone?
Yeah, just colliding.
Oh my gosh.
Well, like when we hit, like I fell and his knees just came down and just like right into my side.
Oh.
Crushed a lot of my shit. JR, you piece of shit. No, I'm just kidding. He's a good dude. And so that happens. I like go back to the dugout. I feel like I just got the wind knocked out of me at first. And then like time comes for me to like go back out. I'm like, I don't feel good at all.
Fuck.
And like my dad they go grab my dad and you see him peeping the dugout. He's like, he comes in and he gets white as a ghost, I guess. He's like, oh shit, we got to go to the hospital now. So we're like riding to the hospital. I'm riding there, and I can like hear like my stomach like cracking with like every bump that we hit. Because we didn't take the ambulance. We just got right in the Yukon. It was probably the quickest way anyway. And he's just like running red lights and all this shit. We get there. They, I don't know, I'm probably chilling in that hospital like in a chair for at least an hour. Just like with internal bleeding and everything. And they finally get me back there to like the little check-in office, hospital, whatever. And it takes a while for the doctor to get back there. He comes back. He like checks my wrist. He's like, hey, don't you worry, Cody. We're going to take good care of you. And I was like, that's funny. And then I was like, this guy's like, I don't know if he's just calling me the wrong name to be funny. And then like on the way out, my mom was like, why did you call him Cody? He goes, that's his name? And she's like, his name's Matt. He goes, looks at the wrist, and it's like some other kid.
Shut up.
They had his wrist. So I don't know what they were about. They might have been clipping my balls that day. You know? Like, hey, I'm still bleeding on the inside, but infertile. So I guess it's a win-win, you know? They end up getting me back. I end up having a allergic reaction to vancomycin or some kind of like antibiotics, like wash, I guess, whatever was going on in the inside. And it got to the point where like I ended up having like red man syndrome, where like your skin turns like red as a tomato. And like I remember like my hair was falling out.
Damn.
And then like I started almost going into like VTech. Like I remember just because I was drugged up, but also like having a severe allergic reaction to a medication. And like luckily like my parents were in the room, so they go and grab somebody, and they come in, and like I just remember like looking over at, because I'm just chill, like I'm drugged up, but like I can also like hear my heart rate on the thing, and it's just like and I look over and it's like 200 and something, and I'm just like,
I'm dying, bro.
oh shit. And so they rush in, they get me flushed out, and I ended up getting stable. I was in ICU for I don't know how long, maybe like a week, or maybe not even that. I don't know. It was all a fog, but I was in the hospital for a while. But I remember once they get me stable, the doctor comes in and he's like, well, is anything else, you know, he's going through, you feeling any pain anywhere else? And I was like, well, when I fell initially, like I hit my tailbone, and I feel like that hurts. He's like, your tailbone hurts? I was like, a little bit. And he like looks at the nurse, and like he doesn't even say, he just says, go grab the KY.
What?
He doesn't even say, like, I remember, and like, you know, I'm like an 18-year-old kid. I was like, I know what the fuck KY is. You know, like a medical term for lube, dude?
You're like, I'm not Cody. I'm not Cody.
Yeah, are y'all buying brand name here? Like, you can get generic. I better not be paying for brand name, you know? Or my parents, I'm on their insurance. It's a big thing now, like when you get older. You didn't have to get KY, you know, you could have just got like in
Gas station.
Lucas Oil or whatever they use. I don't know. You could have just, got synthetic oil from AutoZone. But, dude, so after he says that, I'm like, nah, it's fine. It really doesn't hurt that bad now that I think about it.
I'm fine. It's fine.
He's like, we have to check for rectal bleeding, and like, yeah.
Wait, what did he do with the KY? Or you stopped him?
Huh? He didn't stop. This is my story. First of all, I just want to say, oh man. So he, was a very big man, and his fingers were about the size of pool noodles. And his assistant was what I can only describe as maybe the hottest nurse I've ever seen in my life. So I'm just like, this is humiliating. So
Yeah.
I think at one point, and I'm still pretty out of it, but at one point, my priest walks in. Dude, it just keeps ramping.
Is this
up.
part of the
That's what I'm saying,
joke? Or is this for
yeah.
real?
No, but he was like, hey, you can come back later. So I remember him coming in to like pray over me, and like in that moment, that's when I'm like, oh shit, I'm gonna die.
Damn.
Like, why else are you coming in to pray over me, dude?
Yeah.
Like, what's going on? So I ended up being fine though. You know, I'm still here. I have health problems now that I wonder if like that had anything to do with it. Like I ended up with like psoriatic arthritis and all this shit that I have to take like an expensive ass medication for every month. That I wonder if like the bad reaction I had to like the antibiotic and the antibiotics I had to stay on for a while afterwards just kind of like ruined my gut. Where I ended up with like all these illnesses afterwards. So I don't know. It was a very traumatic day, but definitely were pieces that I could pull from for comedy. I did. And other than that, you know.
Is that the only way you've processed it? Because that's a trauma event.
I don't know. I mean, I guess I processed it as much as I could to the point that like it is what it is. Like it happened, and you know, understanding that like that wasn't my like baseball wasn't my identity. It was just something I did and worked towards, and just like I'm doing now, it's something I do and work towards. You know, like if life steers you in a different course, you just go that direction.
That it feels like there's like two traumas there. One, the actual like
the physical, and then
the medical trauma is huge, and then it's like then it ended like for you at the time that felt very much like your identity, the baseball. So it's like a loss there, but the medical. How did it feel just telling that?
I'm not crying. I just have allergies. I don't cry.
It's okay if you do.
I've never cried.
Okay.
I'm a psycho. So. Yeah, I mean, the medical trauma that I've had is a lot due to my anxiety, because I always expect the worst now. Because I've been given two diagnoses that it doesn't get much worse. I mean, obviously they could be like, you have cancer and you're going to die, which would be worse. But the two diagnoses I've been given aren't, they're, what's it called? Like, you can't cure them. So like I'll be stuck with this arthritis the rest of my life and have to keep taking this expensive ass shot and hope I have health insurance for the rest of my life, which is very stressful to me. And then I have an eye disease where like I just slowly go blind, you know, and it started out like I remember like rubbing my eye and I couldn't see the rearview mirror in the car, and I was just like, wow, I think I have like a detached retina. So I go to the doctor, and they think the same thing. So then they check in. They're like, no, it looks like something else called like retinoschisis. And like, you'll have to have surgery possibly on it, but we can fix it. I was like, oh, great. So then I go to another eye doctor, and it turns out it's something called retinitis pigmentosa, which is just like where your rods and cones in your eyes like slowly degeneratively die. So you end up starting with these blind spots that can end up leading to like tunnel vision before it just cuts off the center. So I always have that fear of like every day. I'm like, are these blind spots getting bigger? And they slowly are, but they're only like staying in one spot. But just the anxiety of like, am I going to go blind or not? Is horrifying. So medical trauma for sure.
Is there any way that you've found to live with that anxiety or kind of lessen it, like meditation or I don't know?
Yeah, like I don't know, like going on these hikes and just seeing things and trying to take everything in, and you know, just in case the worst happens, I want to make sure that I really am present for things around me right now. So if anything, it's kind of more of a gift, I guess, of being like, hey, you may or may not have that, so appreciate it and learn to appreciate things outside of it. And yeah, like meditation, things like that I've tried, and probably not enough. I don't know. Yeah,
I think that's beautiful. The being present.
Yeah, I'm lying. I don't do any of that shit. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah.
That's a lot.
Again, it got too serious, guys. Come on now. I'll back the fuck out of this. Again, excuse me.
With the like baseball thing, how, you know, you said that it taught you how to just like go with the flow if your life turns.
Yeah, it gets to that point. It definitely leading up to it is just stressful as shit.
Do you feel that way about comedy? Or does that stress you out where you're like, oh man, I could lose
comedy
this?
Was the only thing that made me take like a leap, because normally I'm a very like analytical, like everything has to make sense. And with comedy, nothing makes sense. You know, so here I am with a job that I went to college for and has a steady paycheck and health insurance, which I need.
Mm-hmm.
And then this opportunity comes where it's like, you are out of PTO and this opportunity probably won't come again, or you don't know. And it kind of forced my hand. Otherwise, my ass would probably still be doing both and burning the candle at both ends.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, because I'd be out late doing comedy and then working early as shit in the morning and doing it all over again. And, you know, here's this place where, like, you're going to be traveling a lot. You're going to be away a lot. The whole health insurance thing was a huge issue for me that I had to figure out fast, and I did. And it worked out. But taking that leap of faith was something I don't normally do, you know? So I think comedy definitely helped me learn to go with the flow and just be thankful for everything that comes to you, because it's all a gift in comedy. And I mean, in life, it really, if you look at it through that lens, like it's, I don't know, nothing is owed to you in this field. You work and you get it, or you're lucky enough to get it, or you don't. You know, you build good relationships and you work at your craft, and if it lines up, it does. If it doesn't, I don't know, just keep fucking doing it till it does, right?
Yeah.
That was my whole mindset, and it will be if this shit falls apart, you know? So comedy definitely helped me be, I don't know, more, not outgoing. What am I thinking? Like,
Adventurous?
Yeah.
Or risk.
More risky.
Yeah.
Because I always stayed in my bubble and I knew how things operated, and comedy just kind of threw a wrench right in that bitch, you know? And that thing, sorry.
Well, it
Not
seems
bitch.
like you had enough. You had enough confidence, though. I think in like the comedy. I think you were so ingrained that you're like the willingness to take a chance on that.
Yeah, I mean, because I mean, to even do it is a big chance. I mean, I learned to fail a lot, which I had a fear of. Because I mean, still to this day, I mean, in comedy, you fail, I'd say, less and less, but still a lot. But you don't care as much. You learn to like not care. Like it's not the end of the world. Like I had a panic attack doing a public speech in college, and now I'm on stage in front of way more people than that, you know, doing way more time. And it just, I realized the difference is one, I'm prepared for this, whereas with that speech I wasn't. I was like, I'll just wing it. And then that was kind of, I guess you could call that a traumatic event. I don't know, like just, but that was my first panic attack I ever had, where like I had to like excuse myself from the classroom. I had to give a speech over something, and I didn't study. I didn't do any of the work that shit. I was like, oh, I know enough. I'll just wing it. And like, you know, like when you're doing bad and like you're starting to have a panic attack, I don't know if y'all ever have had one, but like everything just gets really tight, and I don't know.
You just start to clam. You're like,
And I'm still up there, and I'm like, it's okay. Nobody can tell. You're fine. You're crushing it, man. Nobody can tell. You're good. Until like the teacher goes, hey, Matt. I'm like, what's up? She's like, and she's just like, do you need to take a minute?
Oh,
and
no.
I'm like, oh, everybody can tell. And that's when I'm like, I go. And I just like walked out of class and like into the bathroom, and it was just like,
oh.
And I went back in, and I was like, I'm just going to do this another day. That's cool. Or you can fail me. I don't give a shit. You know? And she failed me.
No, she didn't.
No, she did. She let me do it the next day. like just to her.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I was like, I don't know if I can do it in front of everybody.
Oh,
She was like, well, just do it to me.
that's
I was
kind.
like, thanks, because that'll give me another day to actually do what I was supposed
Now
to.
she sees you at theaters and she's like, that lying son of a bitch.
I'm not nervous at all. There's a joke I wrote about you. But yeah, so it's weird to go from that to this, because like after that day, I was like, I'm never talking to anybody ever again. Like if I see anybody, I'm just
Not talking.
I'll never have any friends. My family will disown me. I'm like, he's catatonic. I don't know. He should have studied. So little stuff like that. I don't know if you would say that's traumatic, but for a while it screwed me up.
I'd say if you're still remembering it or thinking about it, it had an impact on you, you know?
It's just hard to define, I guess. Some things you know are like, oh, that was traumatic for sure. Because something will happen and you're like, oh, well, that came right back in my head, you know? But then other stuff, you're like, oh, I guess it was bothersome. Like, I still think about it, but it's not like, it's not going to fuck up my day.
Well, that's not how we define trauma, is if it fucks up your day or not. It's really, it's not the event, it's your experience. So, because you can experience the same thing, but experience it differently. And so it's really about your experience of it. Like when you were talking about how embarrassed you felt in the hospital, that felt really like big to me. Like hearing, like just you talking about it, like I can tell that was a very core part of what was so difficult in that.
Yeah, it was humiliating.
Yeah.
I think things that are humiliating or embarrassing kind of can affect you for a while. Like I remember in 6th grade, I think the most humiliated I've ever been was in 6th grade. I had like really bad acne and buck teeth. It's a sad story. So yeah, I mean, it's funny now, but it ruined me for like a good 2 years. I don't know, this girl that I kind of liked drew a picture, like a character of me with like acne and buck teeth, and like passed it around the class.
Damn.
Fuck you, dude. It was her, by the way. No. And like it got back to me, and I was just like, fuck.
Wow, man.
So like for 2 years, I was like nervous to like smile around people.
Aw.
Kids are brutal.
Yeah. And now she's dead.
Yeah.
No, I'm kidding. She's married and happily living a life somewhere.
Happily?
I don't know. Facebook would say so. But you know about Facebook, you know. Now she's Sales Advocare.
Yeah.
So she's struggling. And, but like moments like that screwed me up for a while. Like I was scared to smile around people.
Right.
Which is everybody's best quality. Ladies, you should smile more, by the way. No, I'm just,
Totally.
you know what I mean. Like, I don't ever tell somebody to smile, but
Like to laugh. That's hard.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're like my
oh yeah, no, I
superpowers
was like,
laughing.
about to laugh, I just wanted to smile. Yeah, it's real funny.
Let me turn around.
Or just had that creepy no teeth smile, you know.
Oh, no.
Like, are you passing somebody on the street? You know? I never give them a teeth. I'm like, 'cause that's creepy, you know. That's the only time where like, that's not creepy. So if like I was just hanging out with you guys, I was just like,
Yeah.
eventually, like this is fucking.
Like, what is
weird.
he thinking?
But if it's like a stranger and you give him a teeth smile, that might be kind of weird.
You've thought a lot.
Like if you see
You're like,
somebody
maybe
eye to
this
eye-
moment was traumatic. You've thought a lot about smiles.
Yeah, I mean, every
It's
time.
definitely
I
traumatic.
mean, I'll be in the
walk
mirror
down the
just like,
street.
don't show any teeth.
Well, I am glad that you're smiling now because you're amazing. And I'm so
Thank
grateful that you sat with us and you were open and vulnerable.
This was
you.
fun. Thank you for letting me, I don't know,
Share.
do this.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it.
I want to ask you, what is something that you've been doing recently or you've done for a while that's just good for you? That's like your you time that makes you feel good.
Definitely getting out in nature, doing that, meditation, calling people I care about and staying in touch with people I care about. Just because I know that, you know, that's very important to me. Making time for people like that. But definitely getting out in nature. Like, for instance, when I was in Reading, you know, I was just kind of in a funk. I didn't feel good physically. So mentally it kind of messed with me, I think. And just like at some points I didn't even want to get out of bed. So I'm just in this hotel room and I just forced myself to get up, go for a walk, found a trail, went running on that, ended up down by like a pretty cool river. And I just picked up like a rock from that river and like, this is so lame. And then I took it back to the room. I was like, oh, this is, you know, I'll take this rock. This is a cool place. I'm traveling. I'm very privileged to be able to do that. So like I just wrote Redding, California on the rock. It was like, oh, that's cool. But now that rock is a reminder of like you were having a shit day. You still got up, got out, and did something about it.
Oh,
so
that's awesome.
That's how I see that rock now. Instead of just being like, oh, you were in Redding. So,
dude, that's not
a
lame.
moment
That's
where I was struggling
amazing.
and went and
Yeah,
changed that. So
that's really cool.
yeah. So go pick up rocks if you're sad.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
I do too.
You want to tell everybody listening where to find you? Tell them all the socials.
Yeah, my address is.
They're not going to come to Smyrna, dog.
I'm gonna dox myself. So nobody's ever done that before. Matt Taylor Comedy. Even my tag had to be funny, right? I couldn't just. Matt Taylor was taken by thousands of people, so I didn't want to be Matt Taylor 567. Instead, I was just Matt Taylor Comedy. So
MATTTAY.
yeah, it's gonna feel like a lot of T's right there in the middle, but you're still right. So MATT Taylor Comedy. I always say Matt with 3 T's. My parents had a stutter. So. But yeah, well, Matt Taylor Comedy. You can find me there. Ooh, I'm making this awkward right at the end, dude. I held it together for a good amount.
You did good. Now you did good.
So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Matt.
Yeah, thank you for allowing me to do this. I appreciate both of you.
Same to you,
I'm
my
very
friend.
thankful for this opportunity. You can follow me at Matt Taylor Comedy.
You just can't resist.
Yeah.
It's got to be funny. I love it, though.
It's great. I have pit stains on this new sweater.
Which you can see on your OnlyFans.
I can feel it dripping in my chest.
Oh, God.
Really? Oh, you are great at masking.
Just a lot of chest hair and back hair. So it's like a sauna. And it's not even the room; it's just the clothes.
No, the room is warm too.
Yeah, the warmth of friendship.
Aw.
Anyway,
all right,
we're done. Yeah, sorry.
Bye, Matt.
I'll keep going on. Thanks, guys. This has been amazing. And Thomas edited out that part about me being a school shooter.
Thanks for listening to I'm Fine, It's Fine podcast. I am trauma therapist Melanie Reese, and you can find me across all platforms at Trauma Therapy Nashville.
My name is Amber Autry. I am a comedian here in Nashville and internationally touring. You can find me on all platforms at Amber Autry Comedy. And while you're at it, make sure you're liking, subscribing, sharing, rating, reviewing this podcast. I know that sounds like a lot, but it helps so much. And we're having a good time. We're healing. It feels good. So just a little extra sauce, sharing it with a friend, rate and review it. It really helps, and we appreciate it.
Yeah. And if you have a topic or conversation that you want to hear us talk about, or a story you'd like to share on your own, shoot us an email at imfinesometimes@gmail.com. Thanks so much for listening.